QShow Level 2 is going to be all about arms, and we're looking for mobile arm destructions in particular, but there's a lot of ways of finding that. The reason we start with arms at this level as the first of the striking levels is when you are standing up face to face with somebody, they're going to be throwing punches at you, so you're going to see their arms first. If somebody comes up and grabs a hold of you, it's the same thing. You have arms to deal with. So we're not going to start off with the most fancy technique. We're starting off with what is most available, because that's what's going to happen most often. So if we're looking at the arm, we have a couple things, and we're just going to cover one or two for now. The inside of the arm, and I mentioned in the revival video about pericardium 6 and pericardium 2, so let's talk about those for the inside first. If you have the inside and you're looking at pericardium 2, I said it was about 2/3 up the arm. So a good way of mapping this out is to grab your own bicep, extend your fingers as far as you can, and right about where your third finger in, or the one that's away from the elbow joint, that's going to be where you're going to find pericardium 2. Now, if you press in there enough, you'll notice that the muscle gets a little bit more open as you get closer to the shoulder. So what's happening is the muscle's connected in a tight fibrous tissue in here, the tendon of the elbow. But as it goes further up, the heads connect in different places, so it gives you a little opening. That is pericardium 2. If you don't prescribe to the points and you just want to worry about nerves, feel it, touch it, press it, you'll know where it is. Press it down nice and hard, you'll notice there's a reaction, you'll notice the hand starts to move, and if you're not sure, you can get a strike from there. As you go all the way down into the side of the wrist, there's pericardium 6. Now you might be asking, well, if that's 6 and this is 2, well, what about 3, 4, and 5? Well, 3 has another function altogether, and 4 and 5 are buried pretty deeply behind the muscles in the forearm. So for most martial artists or anyone that launches up to throw a punch or is grabbing you, it's going to be a little hard to get. But what we find with pericardium 6 is it is directly inside this wrist joint. No matter how strong you are, there's not a lot of muscle there to cover. So if you map this out by go about 3 finger lengths from your wrist crease, and that third finger is going to be on pericardium 6. And you don't have to be exactly on point, you just have to get a sense of where that is. You'll notice when you press, it can help the hand close, it'll attach to that little finger a little bit more, and that's going to give you some power there. If someone is throwing a hook punch, this type of hook, they're opening up both sides of that. So you can block into the inside of the wrist, into pericardium 6, and then follow up by plugging pericardium 2. So that would look like 1, 2. Block at the wrist, strike at the bicep. If you do block at the wrist and then strike the bicep, then you're letting the energy travel away towards their head, so that's going to be a follow-up strike to the head. If you hit them at the same time, you're going to cause a pretty strong reaction where the person's going to pull their arm back. If you're in class, fix them. If you're on the street, take off. There's no reason to stay around. All you've done is given them a temporary pain to their arm, nothing with a lot of damage. One more from the outside, we'll go to triple warmer 12. So in the back of the arm is the tricep. So if someone is throwing a straight-in punch, we're going to be more likely seeing the outside. So if I get to the outside and I have an opportunity to strike, I can go to the upper arm or triceps triple warmer 12. We're looking to get between the muscles. If you strike hard enough, you can get into the muscle, but the nerve is running kind of right between some of those heads of the tricep. Tricep is a 3-muscle group in the back of the arm. So this is going to have an effect of releasing the shoulder. So when you rub this tendon in here, which we'll talk about in another time, you release the elbow. When you strike up here, the shoulder wants to release, but then the elbow will follow. So this works as a pretty strong arm destruction or potentially arm break. So if you're on the outside and you block and you strike this with your forearm, you can get into the tricep that way. If you're a little bit more precise and you trust it, then you could also strike that with a fist. So that is triple warmer 12 on the outside, pericardium 6, and pericardium 2 on the inside. A couple good places to start.